Here's what drives the driver in the states that are affected. Here's what you can do, the driver. Don't panic, number one.
Oh, my God. It's like, do you laugh or do you cry? Why exactly is the Biden administration reversing itself on whether you can unmask? The answer is because they have to distract from the crappiest news cycle that they have had really since Biden's inauguration. So Biden has been treated to just sycophantic, drooling media coverage since his inauguration. And then this week, inflation hit. The border crisis continues to marinate. We've got war in the Middle East. And all this is happening on the back of a horrible employment report. So that's a really bad week for this administration. So now it's time to inject some optimism by, actually saying the true thing that we should have said 3 months ago. Okay, so over at the border, migrant children apparently are still being stuck overnight on buses, according to NBC News. In a vast parking lot outside the Kay Bailey Hutchinson Convention Center, minors who migrated to the U.S. without their parents are waiting on buses to be sent to live with relatives or sponsors, staying overnight, eating and using all the bathroom, all within the confines of the bus, according to the owner of one of the bus companies and advocates for the children. In at least one case described to NBC News, a family says their 15-year-old son waited on buses from Saturday to Wednesday before beginning the long journey from Dallas to Seattle. So disaster area. There's still thousands of kids who are being held in close quarters in the middle of apparently, the COVID pandemic still applies to migrants. The good news is that the DHS secretary apparently has short-term memory loss. He says he doesn't remember saying that migrants should come. He did. He said, I'm not saying migrants shouldn't come. I'm just saying they shouldn't come right now. He was reminded of this, and Alejandro Mayorkas was like, I don't remember saying that. Me? Who? What?
You remember saying, don't you, that we're not telling you not to come. Those are your words that you said in a press conference. You said that, right?
I don't recall saying that. I don't believe.
You don't recall saying that?
That's correct, Senator. I have never said.
We'd be happy to refresh your memory for you and some questions for the record. I'm sure that is interesting news, and I'm sure everyone will. The secretary's just said he doesn't have any memory of making those comments. That's extraordinary.
Senator, I have never said that the border is open.
Okay, nobody said he said the border's open. He just said, I'm not saying don't come. I'm just saying don't come right now. That's what Mayorkas said, but he doesn't remember it, so that's good. Meanwhile, by the way, the Biden administration will resume construction of southern border wall levee, according to Fox News. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers will restart construction on a 13.4-mile stretch of levee in the Rio Grande Valley. The decision reportedly follows pressure from local residents and politicians to mend the incessant crossing surge. Priority repairs are set to begin in 6 weeks to prevent flooding, followed by the establishment of a concrete levee wall fit with safety barriers in 6 to 9 months. So, yeah, they're shoring up the wall. That's apparently a super bad wall. Weird. So they've they've sort of reversed themselves on that. Meanwhile, inflation is here. According to the New York Times, the central fact of the American economy in mid-2021 is that demand for all sorts of goods and services has surged, but supplies are coming back slowly, with the economy acting like a creaky machine that was turned off for a year and has some rusty parts. Well, actually, the economy is acting like you would expect it to act when you pay people to stay home and when you tell them it is unsafe to go back to work. The good news is that the Biden administration has no idea what to do with inflation. No clue. So Jen Psaki's like, the inflation is just a sign that everything is going great. Okay, then, crazy lady, let's go with that.
We've seen over the last couple of days, to your point, some reaction to the CPI numbers that came out just yesterday. And, our view on that is it reflects the reality of an economy that's rapidly turning back on because of a successful economic strategy. And if you dig into the data, there are a couple of factors at play that I think people are taking a look at now that we've dug into the data more.
Okay, yeah, the factors at play are that everybody had more savings at the end of last year than they had at the beginning of last year because the government paid them, because they had to pay them to stay home. And then you just continued pumping money into their pockets. And then you said, you don't ever have to go back to work, basically, because we'll pay unemployment benefits all the way through September. Meanwhile, Elizabeth Warren and the left wing of the Democratic Party, who really rule the roost, they're saying, yeah, I'm delighted that Biden is governing like a radical.
Are you surprised at how progressive the policies are that are being proposed by the president?
Oh, not surprised, delighted. This is the good news. This is one of the best things. I talk about this in the book. Putting out plans means they're there for everybody. And they're there for us to share and improve on and make better.
But this seems like big structural change. And I'm sorry, nobody expected that from him.
Well, all I can say is he ran on the most progressive agenda in decades.
Okay, some of us pointed this out at the time, but we were being gaslit by the media that proclaimed that Joe Biden was a moderate. Here's the problem. all of this is starting to bear some really, really ugly fruit. You've got the inflation, you've got the unemployment numbers. They're not great. And then you had people waiting in gas lines. By the way, it turns out that Colonial Pipeline just paid a $5 million ransom to the hackers who hacked the pipeline, which of course is going to incentivize more people to hack pipelines. When you pay ransoms like this is where the U.S. government really should have stepped in and done something, but they didn't. So, I mean, did the government assure Colonial Pipeline that it would backfill them if they paid the ransom? How exactly did this work? When Bloomberg News asked Joe Biden if he was briefed on the company's ransom payment, the president paused and then said, I have no comment on that. Okay, so all of this is going really well. Plus, Joe Biden continues to be an utterly incoherent boob. I mean, Joe Biden's war with the teleprompter continues. Basically, it's now Rocky. It's like Joe Biden is Apollo Creed and the teleprompter is Rocky. And they just keep having these repeat battles every day. I expect any moment that the teleprompter is going to run up the stairs of the Philadelphia Museum of Art and throw its non-arms in the air. Because like the continuing battle between Joe Biden and the teleprompter is one of the most fascinating battles in American public life. I can't wait for Joe Biden versus the teleprompter part 3 when Mr. T comes in. He's like, I pity the fool who can't read a teleprompter. Anyway, here is Joe Biden battling the teleprompter.
The rule is very simple. Get vaccinated or wear a mask until you do. It's vax-ed or masked. Get vaccinated.
It's vax-ed or masked. Sounds like Mike Myers and So I Married an Axe Murderer. Unlove Ed, unvax Ed. Hey, what in the actual? Okay, and then that was the first Joe Biden versus the teleprompter. In that one, they fought to a draw. In Joe Biden versus the teleprompter 2, the teleprompter comes with a clear knockout.
Now, here's what drives the driver in the states that are affected. Here's what that you can do, the drivers. Don't panic, number one.
Oh my God. It's like, I don't know. Do you laugh or do you cry? I mean, really, solid stuff there from the teleprompter. Teleprompter comes with a clear victory right there. That's a TKO in like round 2 by the teleprompter. I need that again. What was that in English? Play it again.
Now, here's what drives the driver in the states that are affected. Here's what that you can do, the drivers. Don't panic, number one.
Here's what drivers should do. Here's what drives the drivers in the Drive Druvy. In the Ryan Gosling movie Drive, drivers drive Druben. Yeah, everything is going fantastically. So, is it any wonder that the CDC reversed itself yesterday? I know what you're thinking. It's time to binge some more Ben Shapiro videos. Well, you are right. You should. But first, like and subscribe. Perfect. I'll see you in the next video.